What if the most dangerous place you can be isn't surrounded by enemies or facing physical threats, but when your heart becomes distant from the source of your strength? Right now, millions of people are experiencing what psychologists call emotional displacement. That strange disconnection when your body is in one place but your heart and mind are somewhere completely different. Longing for safety, comfort, or connection that feels impossibly far away. They're physically present but emotionally absent, going through the motions of daily life while their souls are crying out for something they can't quite reach. 3,000 years ago, King David experienced this exact phenomenon and wrote about it with such psychological precision that modern therapists use his language to help patients understand their own emotional geography. But here's what makes David's insight revolutionary. He discovered that the feeling of distance from what you need most isn't a sign of spiritual failure. It's actually a divine invitation to discover a source of strength that transcends physical location and emotional circumstance. In the next few minutes, you're going to discover why feeling far from God might be the beginning of finding God in ways you never imagined. How emotional distance can become the pathway to spiritual intimacy, and most importantly, how a simple prayer from the ends of the earth can connect you to resources that no physical location could ever provide. Welcome to another profound exploration of learning English through Bible, where we uncover the most sophisticated psychological insights and advanced language patterns hidden in ancient poetry. Today we're examining Psalm 61. And here's what makes this absolutely essential for English learners. David demonstrates how to express complex emotional states, spiritual longing, and the journey from distance to intimacy using some of the most beautiful metaphorical language ever written. This psalm teaches you how native speakers use spatial metaphors to describe emotional experiences, how to express longing and security through contrasting imagery, and how to build prayers that move from desperation to confidence. If you want to understand how English speakers talk about feeling distant, finding refuge, and discovering security in the midst of uncertainty, you've found pure linguistic gold. Make sure you subscribe and hit that like button. You're about to learn vocabulary and sentence structures that will transform how you express complex emotional experiences and spiritual desires for the rest of your life. Psalm 61 opens with one of the most geographically and emotionally precise prayers in the Bible. Hear my cry, O God, listen to my prayer. From the ends of the earth I call to you. I call as my heart grows faint. The phrase ends of the earth isn't just poetic exaggeration, it's David's way of expressing maximum distance from everything that represents safety, familiarity, and spiritual connection. My heart grows faint uses medical language to describe spiritual and emotional exhaustion. The word faint suggests gradual weakening, like losing consciousness or feeling your strength drain away. This teaches English learners sophisticated vocabulary for expressing both physical location and emotional condition. Simultaneously, David's request reveals his understanding of what he needs most. Lead me to the rock that is higher than I. This single sentence contains profound psychology and advanced English grammar. Lead me implies he can't find this place on his own. He needs guidance, direction, external help to get where his heart needs to go. The rock that is higher than I uses comparative language to express both physical and spiritual elevation. In ancient times, high rocks were places of safety where you could see enemies approaching and defend yourself from attack. But David isn't just looking for military advantage, he's looking for spiritual perspective, emotional stability, and psychological safety that comes from being elevated above his current circumstances. The reason for his request becomes clear. For you have been my refuge, a strong tower against the foe. The word refuge comes from military language, meaning a fortified place where you can hide from attack and recover your strength. Strong tower emphasizes both defensive capability and height. Towers allow you to see threats coming and provide protection through elevation and thick walls. Against the foe shows this isn't just about general protection, but specifically about having a secure position when facing active opposition. This demonstrates advanced English vocabulary for expressing different types of security and protection. David's desire intensifies. I long to dwell in your tent forever and take refuge in the shelter of your wings. The verb long expresses deep, persistent desire, not just wanting something but aching for it, feeling incomplete without it. Dwell means to live permanently, to make your home somewhere, to belong completely. Your tent refers to the tabernacle where God's presence was believed to reside, but metaphorically it represents intimate spiritual proximity. Take refuge in the shelter of your wings. Combines the images of a mother bird protecting her young and a powerful warrior providing cover from attack. The transformation in David's prayer is remarkable. For you, God, have heard my vows. You have given me the heritage of those who fear your name. David shifts from requesting to declaring, from asking to acknowledging what has already been provided. Heard my vows indicates that God has not only listened to David's prayers but has accepted his commitments and promises. Heritage of those who fear your name suggests David has received the full inheritance that belongs to people who properly respect and worship God. This teaches English learners how to express the progression from petition to gratitude, from request to acknowledgement. David's prayer for longevity reveals royal concerns. Increase the days of the king's life, his years for many generations. This might seem like David is referring to himself in third person, or he might be praying for the institution of kingship to continue beyond his own lifetime. Increase the days is formal language for requesting extended life. His years for many generations expresses the desire for dynastic continuity, that the kingdom will continue through multiple generations of successors. This demonstrates advanced English vocabulary for expressing concerns about legacy, continuity, and institutional stability. The vision of permanent security emerges. May he be enthroned in God's presence forever. Appoint your love and faithfulness to protect him. The word enthroned means to be seated in royal authority, to have official position and power that is recognized and respected. In God's presence forever suggests permanent proximity to divine authority and protection. Appoint your love and faithfulness to protect him personifies God's character qualities as bodyguards or security personnel assigned specifically to ensure safety. This teaches sophisticated English vocabulary for expressing the relationship between divine character and human security. The psalm concludes with a commitment. Then I will ever sing in praise of your name and fulfill my vows day after day. The word ever emphasizes permanence. This isn't temporary gratitude, but ongoing, continuous worship. Sing in praise indicates that David's response will be artistic, creative, public expression of gratitude. Fulfill my vows day after day shows that worship isn't just emotional expression, but practical commitment to keeping promises made during times of crisis. This demonstrates advanced English vocabulary for expressing long-term commitment and ongoing obligations. What makes Psalm 61 psychologically profound is David's understanding that physical location and emotional condition don't always match. You can be surrounded by people and feel completely alone. You can be in familiar territory and feel utterly lost. You can be in places that should feel safe and experience overwhelming vulnerability. David's phrase, "from the ends of the earth," captures this universal human experience of feeling distant from what you need most. The spatial metaphors throughout the psalm teach sophisticated English, techniques for expressing emotional experiences through geographical language. Ends of the earth expresses maximum distance and isolation. Rock that is higher represents elevated perspective and security. Strong tower suggests defensive position and strategic advantage. Tent implies intimate, personal dwelling space. Shelter of wings creates images of protective covering and nurturing care. David's progression from my heart grows faint to I will ever sing in praise demonstrates complete emotional and spiritual transformation accomplished through prayer and perspective change. He doesn't wait for his circumstances to improve, he changes his focus from his current location to his desired destination, from his present weakness to available strength, from his isolation to potential connection. The language patterns show advanced English techniques for building prayers that move from petition to praise. David uses present tense to describe his current condition. My heart grows faint. Imperative mood to make requests, lead me to the rock. Perfect tense to acknowledge divine response, you have heard my vows. And future tense to express ongoing commitment, I will ever sing in praise. For English learners, Psalm 61 demonstrates sophisticated vocabulary for expressing complex emotional states, spiritual desires, and the relationship between physical and emotional geography. David shows how to use metaphorical language to make abstract feelings concrete, how to express longing through spatial imagery, and how to build arguments for divine assistance based on past experience and future commitments. The contemporary relevance is profound. In our age of global communication and constant travel, many people experience exactly what David describes, being physically present but emotionally distant, surrounded by activity but feeling isolated, having access to information but lacking wisdom, being connected to networks but disconnected from sources of real strength. David's insight that emotional distance can be the beginning of spiritual discovery offers hope for anyone feeling far from God, disconnected from purpose, or isolated from community. His prayer from the ends of the earth demonstrates that no distance is too great, no isolation too complete, no emotional displacement too severe for divine connection to bridge. The metaphor of being led to the rock that is higher than I teaches that security isn't found by eliminating challenges, but by gaining perspective that elevates us above our current circumstances. Sometimes we don't need our problems to be removed. We need to be lifted to a position where we can see those problems from a different angle. David's desire to dwell in your tent forever represents the universal human longing for belonging, for home, for a place where we can be completely ourselves without fear or pretense. His recognition that he has received the heritage of those who fear your name shows that spiritual inheritance isn't based on physical location or social status, but on proper relationship with ultimate authority. The transformation from crying out as my heart grows faint to promising I will ever sing in praise demonstrates that prayer isn't just about getting what we want, it's about discovering what's already available, recognizing what we've already been given, and responding with gratitude that transforms our entire emotional landscape. Most importantly, Psalm 61 teaches that the feeling of being at the ends of the earth, distant, isolated, disconnected from what we need most might actually be the perfect starting point for discovering resources that transcend physical location, emotional circumstance, and temporal limitation. David's prayer from maximum distance becomes the foundation for permanent proximity, ongoing security, and endless reasons for celebration.